Anime can be really weird, and I mean that in the best way possible. Because where else can you find an anime about a girl who turns into a giant kaiju whenever she starts falling in love? Yeah, that's literally the premise of Kaiju Girl Caramelise. And somehow, it's actually good. At first, the concept sounds completely ridiculous. You have a socially awkward girl who starts developing feelings for a popular guy. And whenever those feelings get too intense, she transforms into a giant monster. That's it. That's the anime. But somehow, it actually works. And that's what makes Kaiju Girl Caramelise so interesting. So, what is this anime actually about? The story follows Kuroe Akaishi, a shy high school girl who prefers to keep to herself. She's not exactly the type of person who enjoys being the center of attention. In fact, she tries pretty hard to avoid it. But that becomes a little difficult when she starts developing feelings for Arata Minami, one of the most popular guys at her school. And this is where her situation gets complicated. Because while most people just have to worry about embarrassing themselves in front of their crush, Kuro has to worry about turning into a giant kaiju. And no, I'm not exaggerating. Whenever her emotions become too intense, she starts transforming. So imagine being a shy girl who is already struggling to deal with her feelings, and then having to worry about accidentally becoming a massive monster on top of that. That is basically the kind of absurdity you can expect from this anime. But honestly, I think that's exactly why the show stands out. The premise is completely ridiculous, but the anime fully commits to it. It doesn't try to make the idea of a girl turning into a kaiju feel normal. Instead, it takes this completely absurd concept and asks, what if a shy high school girl had to deal with a normal teenage crush, while also having the ability to turn into a giant monster? And somehow, it works. This is one of those anime that really reminds you how crazy the medium can be. Because if you tried explaining this show to someone who doesn't watch anime, they would probably think you were making it up. There's a girl who turns into a kaiju whenever she falls in love. That sounds completely insane, but that's also what makes anime so fun. You can take two ideas that have absolutely nothing to do with each other, put them together, and somehow create something entertaining. And Kaiju Girl Caramelise is a perfect example of that. The show is also surprisingly funny. A lot of the comedy comes from the contrast between Kuro herself and what happens when her emotions get out of control. She's not some confident monster who wants to destroy cities. She's a shy girl who's just trying to deal with her feelings. And then suddenly, she's a giant kaiju. That contrast creates a lot of ridiculous situations. And what makes it even funnier is that Kuro doesn't see this as some cool superpower. For her, it's a genuine problem. She doesn't want people to find out. She doesn't want to hurt anyone. And she definitely doesn't want her crush to discover that she can turn into a giant monster. So while you have this massive kaiju situation happening, at the center of it is still just a girl who's nervous about her crush. And honestly, that's what makes the whole premise work. But the comedy isn't the only thing that makes this anime worth watching. The romance is actually surprisingly sweet. At first, you might expect the relationship to just be an excuse for Kuroe to transform into a kaiju, but that's not really the case. The relationship between Kuroe and Arata is actually one of the most enjoyable parts of the show. You can go from watching something completely ridiculous to suddenly getting a genuinely cute moment between the two characters. And I really like that contrast. One moment, you're watching a giant kaiju causing absolute chaos. And the next, you're watching two characters have a surprisingly wholesome romantic moment. It really shouldn't work as well as it does, but somehow, it does. And I think that's what makes Kaiju Girl Caramelise so unique. It's not just a kaiju anime, it's not just a romantic comedy, and it's not just a school anime. It's this weird combination of all three, and somehow, those different parts actually complement each other. The kaiju aspect gives the show its unique premise. The comedy makes all the ridiculous situations entertaining, and the romance gives you a reason to actually care about the characters. Because without the romance, the kaiju transformation would just be a funny gimmick. And without the absurd kaiju concept, the romance would probably feel like a pretty ordinary high school romance. But when you combine the two, you get something that feels completely different from most anime. And honestly, that's why I think this show deserves a chance. Because when you first hear the premise, you might think, there's no way this is actually good. And I can't even blame you. The idea sounds ridiculous. The concept is absurd. But once you actually watch it, you realize there's a genuinely fun story underneath all of that. So if you're looking for something different this season, something funny, unique, and surprisingly sweet, then I definitely recommend giving Kaiju Girl Caramelise a chance. Because this anime is proof that sometimes the most ridiculous ideas can turn into something genuinely entertaining. A girl falling in love and turning into a kaiju sounds like one of the dumbest anime concepts imaginable, but somehow, It works, and honestly, that's exactly what makes it worth watching. And if you enjoyed this video and want to discover more weird, underrated, and surprisingly good anime, then check out this video right here. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more anime content. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.